Greetings, brothers and sisters. I know about Celine Dion, and you don't have to send me anymore. Message about her, I'll cover her tomorrow on Hollywood Celebrities Dropping Like Flies because that's where she belongs. um, but she was one of the original ghouls, so I'll cover that tomorrow. But there is a lot here, just on page 6. This is all articles 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is, I think, a record for amount of front page articles on one story, which is Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's renewed clash with British royals and media in much anticipated Netflix series. Prince Harry says wearing Nazi uniform was one of the biggest mistakes of his life. All I wanted to do was make it right. Harry. Prince Harry compares Meghan Markle's compassion warmth to mom, Princess Diana.
What on earth happened?
Yeah, you married a royal gold digger.
She's becoming a royal rock star.
Boom, she's a royal rock star. Woo, Meghan Markle's, woo!
And then
Everything changed. There's a hierarchy of the family. There's leaking, but there's also planting of stories.
there was a war
Planting the stories and leaking.
against Meghan to suit other people's agendas.
It's a dirty game.
It's a dirty game.
Pain and suffering of women marrying into this institution, this feeding frenzy.
Just crying. Meghan Markle's just crying.
I was terrified.
Harry and Meghan's on Netflix. I don't know if I'll watch it. Chances are slim. Right? Meghan Markle's takes swipe at Kate Middleton over first meeting. I'm a hugger. So this is them talking about when he proposed to her.
By the staff flats.
First he says he held her dog hostage.
I got 15.
I'm not showing you that because Netflix sucks on their stupid copyright stuff.
There's electric candles.
Oh my God, Jess, it's happening.
She's calling Jess. It's happening. I roped them in, right?
Oh my God, he told me not to peek.
Oh my god! I'm gonna be a princess. Oh my god!
Oh my God.
What position were you in?
Downward dog.
He was in the downward dog position.
Good. It's
Really
very
good.
clever. See, he's funny.
See, he's funny. I know how to laugh. I'm making Markles. All right, so I got a bunch of stuff to get to do with Trump. Not Trump, the media, the left-leaning media with Trump. I didn't get to all of it in my last video on this channel. And then stuff to do with Ye and media's reaction to him. Here's Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel names GOP Dummy of the Day and doesn't hold back. This is the year of the dummy. And Jimmy Kimmel sucks, right? Like, he's not a professional comedian. And they always end up, either consciously or unconsciously stealing my bits, right? I mean, all these lame comedians. So Jimmy Kimmel, this is where he steals my dummy thing.
But the real dummy of the day today is none other than Herschel Walker, who will not be moving to Washington.
Woo! So there was 2 really bad candidates for Senate. One was Herschel Walker in their appearance and their ability to articulate points, and they didn't seem mentally competent. And these are the ones that I knew about, but these were the 2 big ones. There was no gems. I didn't see one person I'm like, oh, that's a person I would choose as a leader. Like, there hasn't been a good political candidate in years. That is somebody who's, somebody who's like a good character and smart and is ethical and fair and all the good qualities you would think in having a leader, right? It's like, well, I'll take the guy who's going to make my life, or woman who's going to make my life better, right? Like, you'll take the candidate that's best going to serve your interests or agrees with your point of view, represents your party, like that's how people vote. But the people themselves are horrible people. Like you never find somebody who's like a great person unless you're delusional, right? Like the Trump delusional people, or the people who are delusional about Biden or whatever. But there were two standouts as being really bad. You know, they can't even act, they can't even speak, and they were Herschel Walker and Fetterman Smash, right? And Fetterman, you know, won. I mean, he was against Dr. Oz, who was a piece of crap. You know, I couldn't vote for Dr. Oz, but Fetterman.
Hi, good night, everybody. I'm running to serve Pennsylvania.
That's how he was introduced. He said this. He was asked to. This was the introduction to his debate, right? Like, think about that.
What qualifies you to be a U.S. Senator? You have 60 seconds.
Hi, good night, everybody.
Good night. This is the start of the debate. He's already said good night.
I'm running to serve Pennsylvania. He's running to use Pennsylvania. Here's a man that spent more than $20 million of his own money to try to buy that seat. I'm also
Fetterman Smash.
having to talk about something called the Oz rule, that if he's on TV, he's lying. He did that during his career on his TV show. He's done that during his campaign.
I mean, look at this guy. Just look at his neck fat back here. Like he's got all this neck fat. And just is like, I mean, this ogre-like creature up here who can't articulate a sentence. Good night, everybody.
About lying, about
Fetterman Smash. Fetterman go to DC. Fetterman Smash.
our record here. And he's also lying probably during this debate. And let's also talk about the elephant in the room. I had a stroke. He's never let me forget that.
The guy's just always nagging me about my stroke.
And I might miss some words during this debate, mush two words together, but it knocked me down, but I'm going to keep coming back up. And this campaign is all about, to me, is about fighting for everyone in Pennsylvania that ever got knocked down, that needs to get back up, and fighting for all forgotten communities all across Pennsylvania that also got knocked down, that needs to get back up.
He needs to get back up. So it's really hard to find all of those flubs. Now I have them. There's, you know, I put them in a bunch of. I made a video on Fetterman at some point. I could find all those flubs because I still have them, but I'm not going to do it because we all saw it, right? And it doesn't seem like it was a stroke. It seems like maybe he was nervous. He's not a good debater because his speech got better, but it was still bad. And then there was that, you know, he walked off stage, Fetterman Smash, you know, the stuff that I said before. But this guy was, you know, after the debate, there was an open mic where somebody, you know, some Republican, some Democratic, you know, important person comes up to Joe Biden and said, hey, you know, the polls are out. We survived Fetterman's horrible debate performance. It was the worst debate performance I've ever seen. Like he just couldn't, you know. I mean, somebody with that level of mental competence shouldn't be running for Senate. But he did, and he won. The difference between Pennsylvania and Georgia, I mean, Pennsylvania, you know, they're swing states, so they're pretty even. So they have to have a big turnout. In Pennsylvania, they elected a guy who was, you know, obviously mentally incompetent. Where in Georgia, they almost elected a guy. Herschel Walker got over 49% of the vote. So, yeah, you know.
Yeah. Mom.
And again, I'm somebody who, I dress casually. I'm wearing shorts and a T-shirt right now. Like you know, which I'm glad I have a job. I can, you know, do all that, right? And you know, I don't believe in ties. Like, what's a tie, right? A piece of cloth that you tie around your neck, so somebody can use it as a weapon, right? Which has happened before. You know, you know, if you get into a physical confrontation, you're wearing a tie. You basically have a, you know, noose around your neck, right? So, I mean, not that that's, you know, but it just, ties to me are stupid in general. And, you know, suits as well. Like, I'm not, you know, I don't believe in this stuff. But, like, you know, damn, like, He wears a sweatshirt. This is his victory speech. He's got these weird tattoos. So he's like some sort of, looks like some sort of thug, white supremacist gang leader.
My mother, my father, Carl, Susan.
My
brother, Greg. Where's Giselle? Where's Giselle?
Where's Giselle?
Everyone's favorite, yeah, Giselle.
Fetterman smash.
Who 6 months ago she saved my life.
Woo! Fetterman smash.
Walking out of a Sheets bathroom, she recognized what was happening.
That Fetterman smash. Anyways, the Democrats elected this guy. And so you don't get to use the word dummy because, and we'll show you Jojo Magoo in a second.
He lost bigly last night to Senator Raphael Warnock in the Georgia runoff. Warnock was able to win full term in the Senate by staying focused on his primary message to Georgia voters, which
What's the joke?
was, "I am not Herschel Walker."
Kaboom!
And while Herschel did not call Senator Warnock to offer congratulations last night, he did do what some notable Republicans won't. He made a concession speech in front of a crowd of supporters at Herschel headquarters.
I don't want any of you to stop dreaming. I don't want any of you to stop believing in America. I want you to believe in America and continue to believe in the Constitution and believe in our elected officials most of all. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
You know what? I'm glad to see those guys getting along. That's.
So he started off talking about Republican quotes and things like this.
To those we lost at Pearl Harbor, but none less eloquently than former naval officer and White House press secretary Sean Spicer, who tweeted, "Today is D-Day. It only lives in infamy if we remember and share the story of sacrifice with the next generation. Hashtag D-Day." Unfortunately for Sean, today is not D-Day. D-Day's on June 6th, nor does it live in infamy unless you're a Nazi or Kanye West. D-Day.
So, this is a inarticulate speech. But when you have Fetterman smash, which he didn't cover, and you have Jojo Magoo, who has been the biggest walking gaffe that we've seen in years, and let's watch this other part here.
Is what Sean Spicer called it when he brought a report card home. So he's confused. And then, not to be outdumbed, Congresswoman Lauren Boebert from Colorado tweeted this moving tribute to those who lost their lives at Pearl Harbor.
Pearl Harbor, she forgot to yell.
Pearl Harbor, a day that will live in infamy.
And so that's what he gets into.
But the real dummy of the day today is none other than Herschel Walker.
So that's his opening, right? Talking about how Republicans are so dumb. You don't get to do that when this is your guy.
And today, TSMC has announced a second major investment. It will construct a second fab here in Phoenix to build chips, 3 nano chips. The 3 nano chip. Chips that are 3 nano. And you know what I'm saying. Nano, no, I don't know.
This is your guy. Democrats can't say boop. They can't say anything because that's your guy. I'm not saying Republicans are better. They're slightly better, but I'm not saying that. Like, I'm not, that's not the point of my video. I'm not comparing and saying, Democrats are so bad that you got to be a Republican. Like, people think that's what I say here, and I never say that. Because the Republicans have their own failed candidates, their own, all of it. But this is your guy. You have a bumbling idiot that you guys are ignoring. You have a village idiot who's been a village idiot, and now he's senile, so he's even worse, right? And he gets up there, they're laughing at him. He doesn't know what the F he's talking about. And then you're leaving that out and you're doing these tweet jokes. This is your guy. This is your dummy right here. Let me do the dummy thing. Let me do the dummy compilation of Fred Sanford. But this is your dummy.
Dummy, 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 dummy. Get lost, dummy. You big cold-blooded dummy. You big dummy.
I've done some dumb things, and I'll do dumb things again. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've been dumb.
And besides ignoring Jojo Magoo's multiple gaffes, a walking gaffe, and just his, his dementia and before his dementia, he was just a mess, right? Jimmy Kimmel interviewed Hunter Biden and got down on his knees and serviced the guy. Hunter Biden released a book about his crack addiction, and these are some of the highlights.
After reading this book, I'm impressed that you're alive. I really am. It is amazing that you are alive after all the crazy things that you've been through.
Criminal things, they're criminal behaviors. Buying illegal drugs is a criminal behavior. And all that goes into buying illegal drugs, it is surrounded by crime, right? Being a crack addict is surrounded by crime. You're supporting crack dealers, and you need money to support your crack habit, and you can't hold a job because you're a crack addict. And so there's all these behaviors he lists in here. Seedy behaviors, hotels, West Hollywood, all these things, right? And, Hunter Biden had these deals with foreign governments to support his crack habit. And look at this expression on his face. This is not a comedian, a guy who's, goes after people like Trump. If this was Trump's son, how he would go after him, right? He's like completely pacified and he's just on his knees servicing him, right?
Here in this neighborhood, like right around here.
Yeah.
It's like, you were doing crack at the places that I eat.
Yeah, gee, golly, Hunter. Golly, you're so cool, Hunter. You're doing crack where I eat. Like, I just eat there, but you're doing crack. Golly, Hunter, how can I be as cool as you?
No, I didn't think you were. But
Hunter, Hunter, you're so great, Hunter.
But, I feel like I learned a lot about crack, and I know that sounds weird.
It does sound weird. You've learned a lot about crack through reading this book. You sat through this whole book, right? He had Michael Avenatti that he, was always, they were running Michael Avenatti as a potential presidential candidate, and now he's in jail for defrauding Nike, right? That whole thing with Stormy Daniels, like all these seedy characters, porn stars and crack addicts. This is fine. But, somebody leaves off an L in Pearl Harbor, and it's like, yeah, you're such a dummy. Oh, I can't believe you're such a dummy.
Hear about it, and you see it on TV shows and, in the news every once in a while, but I learned how to I really think I could get it now.
He could get crack now. He could just get it. It's an instruction manual. Like, after reading his book, Hunter's informed him how to get crack if he ever needs it.
Thanks to your book.
Well, I hope that wasn't the message that you took from the book.
This is not.
It's not the message, It's not the message. It's just it's just another hidden benefit.
Wasn't the message that you took from the book.
This is not a how-to manual?
No, it's not a how-to.
Oh. Well, I misread the whole.
Well, you misread the whole thing. I thought I thought I now know how to do crack.
Like where we're situated right now, the Roosevelt Hotel is right across the street from us. This is where you had, would you call it a bender?
I was at every hotel in Los Angeles, basically.
You'd hole up there until they threw you out.
Every motel,
And so when were you working? When were you working for Burisma and for the Chinese energy companies, and all they were paying you millions of dollars? When you were in Los Angeles, West Hollywood, and you stayed at all these motels, seedy motels, and you're having, lavish crack benders with hookers and other crackheads and people coming in and out of these hotel rooms. This is what he describes in this interview, in the book, in detail. When were you working? When were you doing your job, Hunter, of providing influence, providing access to your famous father? Like that's, when were you doing that? Like when you're all cracked out in West Hollywood.
Manual.
No, but it is a very vivid and detailed description of what it feels like to use crack.
Yeah.
And I've not used crack, but I do feel like I understand it now. And
He has so much understanding and compassion for you, Hunter. You're such a wonderful young man. When you're banging your dead brother's wife, or you're misusing handguns, or you're impregnating strippers and not paying child support, and not being a father to the baby in any way, shape, or form, and you're out there doing crack and getting money and selling out the American integrity with foreign corporations, and You're given access to your dad. You're just a wonderful guy. And now I know what it's like to do crack. So this goes on like this for another 10 minutes with him just, let's just go to the end here.
Got remarried. We say we got remarried after my mommy's death. And he said, I thank you for giving my son the courage to love again.
Wow. Wow. He always
Woo.
says the right thing, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah. Well, this is this is some book. This is not one of those books you go, oh, all right, this is a hell of a book. It's called Beautiful Things.
Yeah.
Hunter Biden, thank you for being with us.
Honored
I
to be
appreciate
here.
it. We'll be
Thank
back.
you. Thank you.
Boom. So that's that, right? And so this is how you treated a crackhead, and a guy who had all the privileges and all the doors are wide open for him, all the advantages of being Jojo Magoo's son and all of it, right? And he's lived a horrible life, horrible person. He's engaged in criminal activity and his laptop and all this stuff. And there was a cover-up done by the media and everyone else. And, you're out there just, getting on your knees in service in this guy. I mean, it's brutal. It's like, as a comedian, as somebody who's supposed to be a heavy hitter, he goes after Trump pretty hard, but he just got on his knees in service to Hunter Biden here. Like, it's just embarrassing, right? This is, you can't say anything about anybody else when you're just going to, sit there and, take it in the you-know-what, right? It's just you're an embarrassment as a human being, as a comedian, and as a person that mocks people. Like, you got to be an equal opportunity mocker. Like, you have to mock these guys who are much worse than leaving off the L in Pearl Harbor. And then I want to get to these covering Ye. I didn't get to do this the other day on my other video because it went too long. But this is hilarious, their coverage.
Welcome back, everybody. New fallout after rapper Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, got his Twitter account suspended again for making anti-Semitic posts. The rapper tweeted an image on Thursday that appeared to show a swastika inside a Star of David. The post was blocked by Twitter for violating its rules, and Elon Musk said West's account was suspended, quote, for incitement to violence. It came after Ye went on Alex Jones's InfoWars and praised Hitler and said that the Holocaust never happened. Joining me as chairman and president of Media Matters, Angela Carasone.
Media Matters. She can't even.
Yeah. I mean, I don't.
I can't even.
What's going on? How is it that we live in a country, we live in a world where a rapper like Kanye West, right, who obviously wants people to talk about what he's saying, right?
A rapper saying outrageous things. It's never happened before. Kanye, saying outrageous things has never happened before.
Wants to push the envelope. I think a part of him probably in his head feels as if this is an expression of art, what he's saying.
It's a performance art. Whether he's in on it or not, whether this is a part of a, they're scripting this and they want this to happen. The people who control the system, whatever is going on here, whatever's behind this, you got to call it performance art. That's what I said in my other video. I look at it as performance art. That's everything that Ye's done is performance art. The rappers get into these rap feuds right before they release an album. And it's, they work it out ahead of time, right? Just like with the Skull and Bones, you had, George W. Bush on one side and John Kerry on the other side, and they were both part of some secret organization they can't talk about, Skull and Bones and Yale, right? You have this with rappers who get into feuds. You have, the Democrat and the Republican Party are doing this all the time. They're, they have their, the Democrats have their dummies like AOC, and the Republicans have their dummies like Marjorie Taylor Greene, and they give each other cover. They give the right cover, the left gives the right cover, the right gives the left cover, and it provokes anger in people and outrage, the other side, and they use that. Like they're compatible, right? They're in symbiosis.
Right?
Sure. Maybe.
Is able to say things like this. I mean,
he's able to say things. He's able to say things. We got to stop him being able to say things.
This is pure hate speech. This is nothing.
Yeah,
This is
It's not hate speech. I've said this before. Hate is a condition. I don't know if you call it an emotion. It's not anger or fear, which are emotions, natural emotions. But hate is an internal condition. And there has to be hateful energy to have hate. You can't have something just be, words. Like a computer could say out words, right? If you look up the word Hitler or Nazi in the dictionary, then when you read it, it doesn't have hate energy in it, right? The dictionary or whatever it is. And you guys are saying these words. So words themselves don't have hate in them. There has to be hate behind it. It was hate coming out of a person or a group of people. And I've said this before. Hate is your hate. The object of your hate could be your spouse, could be your parents, could be your boss, could be a group of people, right? But that changes because the hate's inside of you. If a person has hate inside of them, it'll come out and manifest. The object will change. It's coming out and manifesting, and the object is different. It's going to be this person today and that person tomorrow. You might say that Ye is angry, or confused or whatever he is, right? There's various ways to attribute it. But when you listen to him on Alex Jones, you didn't feel hateful energy. There's no hate coming out of him. You can't call it hate speech if there's no hate.
It's nothing but pure hate.
Distilled. Yeah, this is distilled.
Nothing but pure hate. If you bake brownies and you forget to put chocolate in them or sugar, and they taste like horrible because they don't have, the sweetener in them or the chocolate that's supposed to make them into brownies, it's the same thing, right? You can call it a brownie, but it's not really, right? You've left out one of the key ingredients. And there's no hate in what Ye's saying. There's no hate energy. You can say the words are considered hateful. There's words you're not supposed to use, sure. But that doesn't mean it's hate speech. It's just, hate has to be there.
Hate speech. And I think that, obviously there's the immediacy of the story, which is what Ye is saying and, how...
Wait, did you just call him Ye? You just call him Ye?
There's the immediacy of the story, which is what Ye is saying and,
He just called him Ye. It's 2 letters, bro. It's 2 letters, bro. You work for Media Matters. You don't know it's Ye? It's not Kanye. It's Kanye. It's short for Kanye. It's not short for Kanye. She said it right here.
Welcome back, everybody. New fallout after rapper Ye, formerly known as Kanye West.
Yeah, she said it. You heard it from her.
Obviously, there's the immediacy of the story, which is what Ye is saying.
He called him Ye. How do you mispronounce 2 letters? It's Ye.
And how outrageous it is, and Elon Musk banning, suspending him, and that's this thing to consider. But immediately my brain goes to what are the effects of this? What are we going to see? Not when the news cycle is over, not in a couple of days, but what is the effect of this right now in 3 months or 6 months? And that's where
the effects will be nothing unless there's some government operation to make him into something, right? Because they don't take this guy seriously. His stuff is light. The people aren't going to take him seriously. I mean, there's people who already feel this way in what he's saying, and that's not going to change anything, right?
I sort of assess how much I should be worried or concerned, and the truth is, this is going to be catastrophic.
It's going to be catastrophic. Come on, bro.
And here's why.
Here's why. Tell me why. How is Ye making the world more catastrophic?
He has a platform, right?
No, he doesn't. He's been deplatformed. You're giving him a platform right now, like you gave Kyrie a platform, where you're pushing this out.
He's obviously a major celebrity. He's going to get a lot of attention for these ideas. There's all kinds of clips of him saying these outrageous and anti-Semitic things on Alex Jones's show, circulating on social media. And then obviously there's a lot of people saying they're saying it's ridiculous. But the social media algorithms also recommend this to people that may be interested in it, that don't think it's ridiculous, but haven't.
Okay, there's lots of people who legitimately hate Jewish people. There's hate in their system. There's a lot of hate for, everybody out there, for every group, but there's, specific hate for Jewish people. I find comments on my videos all the time where you can feel hate. There's hatred there. There's a hatred that exists, and it's long before social media. This has existed for I mean, even before Hitler, there's been hatred for the Jewish people. It exists now on the internet. Again, it exists in people. People create hate in themselves and then express it on the internet. So I shouldn't say it exists on the internet. The internet is a vehicle of expression of many things, including hatred, and not just for Jewish people. And the people who have hate in their system, if the object of their hate disappeared, if all the Jewish people disappeared, they would still have hate in their system. That's why I always say that, right? Like if you have hate in your system, you got to deal with your own hate. Because regardless of, people are going to wrong you. And there's going to be reasons to hate people. Whether it be individual people or it is a group of people, a specific group of people, right? But this hate exists, and there is some people who hate Jewish people, and maybe it's grown a little bit from people finding things out on the internet and these different narratives that are out there, right? And, you have a brand. Like every group, every demographic has a brand, right? Irish people have a brand. Italian people have a brand. White people have a brand. And it's not just white people, like all white people, right? It's specific groups, not all black people, right? It's various groups, right? People in Africa have a different brand than African Americans have, right? Southern people have a brand. Northern people have a brand. Wealthy people have a brand. And just like with anything else, brands have a variety of different, each person has a different understanding of the brand, right? Some people love fast food and McDonald's, and some people, think of McDonald's as death food, right? And so, you have this, a diversity of people's understanding of the brand. And then there's, all of that, right? And Ye saying these things isn't going to move the needle one way or another. I mean, it's bringing it out in terms of people's attention, because the way the ADL handled Kyrie and, the way that this is being done with Ye, people are forced to pick sides or thinking they have to pick sides. And so that's the issue here. Isn't what Ye said. It's the way that they're handling it. Because it would have been better just to ignore him and say he's just crazy and not make a big deal about it. But they keep on covering it, and that's where the issue is, right? That's going to make people have more negative feelings towards they're going to say, we want to be on this side, right? They want to be on Ye's side. They want to be on Jewish people's side, whatever it is, right? But they're all going to, people will pick sides, and that's because of the way it's being handled. It's divisive. They're handling this in a divisive way.
I've seen this in a raw, distilled form on TikTok, for example, right? And so actually what this is going to end up doing is sowing seeds where the of algorithmic...
You just stop it, right? You just stop it. You can't even pronounce his name right. You're supposed to be a media expert, and you called him Yee.
Conspiracy spreader Alex Jones filed for personal...
He's a conspiracy spreader. He's a super spreader of conspiracies. He's no longer a conspiracy theorist.
Conspiracy spreader Alex Jones filed for personal bankruptcy today. The filing could potentially delay the nearly $1.5
Okay. Alex Jones has filed for bankruptcy.
$1 billion. Two state courts have a...
So he's not going to be able to pay the $1.5 billion that, I'm not an Alex Jones fan. He's a disinformation agent, but, like this was inevitable. His filing for bankruptcy, right? He wasn't going to pay $1.5 billion. So then there was this that I haven't watched yet.
Even when Alex Jones was basically like, oh, not Hitler. Ye doubled down, tripled down, if you will. He then tweeted a logo of a swastika that was blended in.
So this is for African American people that are all, sort of smiling and laughing. This dude's laughing about what Ye said. Let's watch that again. Watch the guy's reaction at the end, and the woman next to him, the women next to him are smiling. Watch it here.
Even when Alex Jones was basically like, oh, not Hitler. Yay.
So he started to laugh, and he put his hand in front of his face, right? So, I mean, to him, this isn't some grave, abhorrent is a word they're using a lot. For him, this is kind of a joke, right?
Doubled down, tripled down, if you will.
Look at his eyes. His eyes are smiling. The girl next to him just got a big smile, right? And so that's how I reacted, because it's funny when Alex Jones is the voice of reason. That's just funny because of how Alex Jones is. And so to me, it was performance art. And I gave a whole long thing about how I felt about it, and Hitler's soul and reincarnation. I talked about that in my other video, my other channel. But my reaction was, Ye was saying some things you would never expect somebody to say. And he's done that before. And it was light. It wasn't some, and I would severely doubt that there would be any real material reaction, some sort of, action that would come from Ye saying these things, right? But these reporters, these experts on this show, they're all laughing, right? Ye.
To the Star of David. This is a shocking image, so shocking that Elon Musk said too much for me, and it resulted in the permanent suspension of his Twitter account, and then prompted this post from President Biden. We're going to put it up on the screen. President Biden writes, I quote,
Yeah, we know what Joe Biden said. Biden also talked about nanobots, right?
Complicity. Donald Trump, surprisingly, has yet to condemn these hateful comments, and this is despite hosting Kanye West, Ye, for dinner before Thanksgiving. Amisha, the remarks were abhorrent. They were violently anti-Semitic.
Abhorrent. That was a word that Jamie Lee Curtis was using, right? Well, let me just show you that. I'll show you the montage of that. I put that together on my other channel, and we'll move on from this.
At this point, I don't think Kanye is off his meds so much as he's immune to them.
And Steph, I really want to say this very quickly. If we don't step up here, this is a problem.
Kanye, I know you're like, yo, this is the real me. I'm off the meds. Take them. There's no shame in the medicine game. I'm on them. It's great.
We certainly are. This is a time when we have to step up and stop it.
DEFCON 3 on Jewish people? It's just abhorrent.
Yeah.
It's abhorrent behavior. I hope he gets help. I hope his children get help from him.
Harley Pasternak threatens to institutionalize Kanye West back to Zombieland. Of course, we read this before, but here's the tweet again. I'm going to help you in one of a couple of ways. First, you and I sit down and have a loving, open conversation, but you don't use cuss words. Everything that is discussed is based in fact, not some crazy stuff that dumb friend of yours told you or you saw in a tweet. Second option, I have you institutionalize again, where they medicate the crap out of you and you go back to Zombieland forever. Play date with the kids just won't be the same. Alex Jones had this epic divorce that involved millions of dollars and abuse claims by his ex-wife, right? All these things. InfoWars, Alex Jones is a performance artist, his lawyer says in divorce hearing. And so his lawyer came out and said that he's playing a character. And of course he is. I mean, same thing here at CBS News. And then here, Alex Jones' lawyer claims says all the vile stuff because he's a performance artist. So even Alex Jones has claimed this. And he is. He's totally playing to, he makes himself like do the demonic rants and all the things, right? The stuff that, let me just show my imitation of him, right? It's performance art. Like, it's just sucky because Alex Jones is hurting the rest of us because he's a sellout shill, but, it's a performance art. It's not real.
This is a human. This is what we look like. This is what we act like. This is what everybody was like before us. This is what I am. I'm a throwback. I'm here. I've got the fire of human liberty. I'm setting fires everywhere.
This is a shill. This is what we look like. This is what we act like. This is how you make $165 million. I'm COINTELPRO. I work for the CIA. I'm cutting you out of your money. I'm cutting you out of your money everywhere. We're at war. I've declared bankruptcy. I'm broke. I need your help right now. My body's full of cholesterol, and there's a strange growth on my scrotum. There's only one way to fight this madness, to win this war. You need to buy my products. And you need to do it now, before my head explodes. My blood pressure is too high. I'm on the verge of being thrown out by Illuminati, and they've canceled my gym membership, and I need your money and your support now. I just made a stinky. Roger?
See, all these celebrities and, the wealthy people and the people that control the Liberal Party and the royal family, people like that, they call all this stuff art. Like when Marina Abramovich had cakes of people, like it was like that cannibalism party, or what she did with the, that witch video where she was throwing pig's blood everywhere, right? And they claimed that was art. And it was okay, even though Christian people were upset and everyone's upset about that on the truth community, those things. The liberals claim it's art, just like they claim they're horrible, horrific. I mean, not just horror movies like Jamie Lee Curtis, but all the Valencia stuff, all the model stuff, all the Met Gala, stuff like with Lady Gaga having blood come out of her when she was doing a performance and dressing up in a meat suit, right? All those things are okay. Performance art. They're offensive to people. They offend people. Like a lot of it's disgusting or it's satanic or it's whatever it is, right? When Lil Nas X did a lap dance on Satan, they defended that as art, right? And he had a very young audience base that liked his, his cowboy video, his first one. And he said he used that to suck children in. Like he said that in one of his songs. And so, a lot of this stuff is, the stuff with Kanye, no one's going to see the Yay Alex Jones video who are kids. Kids aren't going to watch that, right? Or they don't have interest in it. But there's being stuff put out to kids that's highly offensive, right? And they all put this under, they defend it as being art, as it being performance art or whatever it might be. But when Alex Jones does it or Ye does it, it's horrific, right? It's abhorrent. But it's clearly performance art. And whether you like it or not, it's still somebody, they're playing characters. Alex Jones has created a character that's been very successful for him. And again, that character is owned by the intelligence community or whoever it is, right? Whoever he's shilling for to do damage to the truth community. But that's why I say this whole thing's a show. It's all performance art. Everything that we see in the mainstream media and in Hollywood culture and even in sports, it's all performance art, right? It's all there as a part of a show. We watch a show on the internet and TV, and it's all part of this big cultural show they're putting on to manipulate people. And, the elections are part of the show, and the politicians, it's all part of the show, right? And so, getting upset about a show, it's just ridiculous. Balenciaga drops $25 million lawsuit against producers of disturbing campaign. That I guess they didn't drop it. They is dropping its $25 million lawsuit against the producers of a controversial ad campaign. Attorneys for Balenciaga filed a notice of discontinuance on Friday. The whole Balenciaga thing, whatever it is. A tattoo removal studio in London is offering a special deal for regretful Kanye West fans. NAMA Studio shares via Instagram last month that would remove tattoos of the 40-year-old rapper at no cost. Now, who got tattoos of Ye in the first place? Because, why would you do that? But now you can go to this place and they'll just remove it for free because you can't be having tattoos of Kanye, of Ye, of Ye. No Ye tattoos. All right, so I wanted to cover this on my other channel the other day, or this channel, I don't know. I never got to it. Meta threatens to remove all news from Facebook.
Facebook parent Meta threatening to remove all news from its site if Congress passes a law allowing news organizations to bargain with tech companies for compensation.
So, this is, well, let's listen to this here.
Meta furiously adding, quote, put simply, the government creating a cartel-like entity which requires one private company to subsidize other private entities is a terrible precedent for all American businesses.
Good blowy.
It's allowing, essentially, a monopoly in the news industry of all of our traditional news entities to then go into Facebook and say, you have to carry us, and here's what you have to pay us.
Right. So that's because the news media is dying, right? Meta has threatened to pull all news from Facebook if ill-considered bill that would compel it to pay publisher passes. The bill would require Facebook and other platforms to pay publishers for their news. The bill was introduced by Senator Amy Klobuchar, that's a surprise, with bipartisan support that would enable publishers to negotiate with social media platforms like Facebook over how their content is distributed on such platforms. That includes requiring social media firms to pay for news content. And so, this would ultimately be a good thing. Now, there have already been changes. I've had to change the way I do things because now there are filters. Like, let's say I go to YouTube TV, which I used to go there when I saw something on CNN or MSNBC. Like, I'll eat lunch or breakfast, and I'll watch a little news. And oftentimes I see something, I'm like, I got to put this in a video. And I used to go to YouTube, my YouTube TV app, and I would use my ScreenFlow app. And I want to cover this separately, see if anybody knows how to, stop this or whatever. And now they have a filter. Plus, I used to rent like a movie. Let's say I want a clip from a movie. And again, it's all within the copyright laws. There's not like I'm just taking a small chunk of something, right? But they don't let you copy it anymore. I don't know if there's other ScreenFlow is the best app. And so that's why I haven't been doing that. Like I would have done that with the Don Lemon show and some of these other things. And so it actually hurts them because I'm covering less news. The only clips I have are videos that they're putting up on YouTube. And, I like mocking the news, but I don't have to do that. I mean, ultimately, it'd be a win for me. I would, and you could just get a sense of the news. You don't have to read from any particular article, and you could just, say what you have to say, right? If they're going to charge these companies, and the companies block you from putting their news articles, they've done this in Australia and other places, you can just say what you say, like you can do a summary of a variety of different articles you read. You don't have to attribute anything. And then, these places don't get any publicity and nobody's watching them. Like this is them trying to force everyone to pay or these companies to pay, which will, come down and trickle down to the rest of us in terms of their services and things, is to get them to pay for a dying, the dying media, right? I mean, it's, their audience is literally dying. Nobody watches the commercials anymore. They're all, CNN is having to lay off people. And so they want to say, we're going to put our news up on your sites, make people watch it, and then charge you for it, right? There's one more thing I want to say quickly here. There's one comment that just came in. It's a wonderful comment. Now, I had a few of these to my video in which the Boston Celtics coach said that that Jesus was king, right? This is on my other channel. And, I was talking about this. He said that Jesus, Mary, and Joseph were the royal family. And I said, well, Joseph got cucked by God, and that, Mary was impregnated, but God is beyond king. And one person wrote, Jesus is called the King of Kings in the Bible. And that's I'm not banning that person because it's a good point, in terms of, what people are thinking about this. And what I was saying is God and a holy person, a saintly person, somebody on Jesus's level or any saint, any spiritual master is beyond king. There's no King of Kings. This is for people back then who thought kings were the greatest things, right? People worshipped kings. Kings were gods. And so this was them using the language of the time and the place of how people thought about kings. But Jesus isn't a king. He wasn't a king. God isn't a king. King is a bad thing, right? King is a robber baron, a former criminal, former thug, a gang lord that seizes power and rules over people, usually by threat of violence, right? I mean, then they become refined like the royal family, but the royal family came from, Count Dracula and other barbaric kings, right? I mean, these kings, these royal people came from brutes, came from criminals who seize power and money and then get sophisticated, right? The teachings of any religious text are going to be dumbed down to lower developed people with lower level consciousness. I mean, this is what's happening in my Heartfulness Sahaj Marg organization right now. It's turning into a religious cult because they're going after more people, and they're getting the worst people. They're getting dumb people, people who want to do religion, right? And they're getting away from the sophistication of the transmission and the teachings that are, that appeal to smarter people and higher developed people, right? And so what happens to every religion? It starts off as something where the guy comes in, the spiritual being comes in. Doesn't always have to be a guy, but it's a higher developed soul. And there's is an authentic experience and teachings of God, and then it's dumbed down, and your Bible is dumbed down. If you're a Christian, it's dumbed down to people who don't have the ability for abstract thought, people who, can't be spiritual, which is connecting to God directly. And so it's remedial. It's for remedial people. And you say, this guy is the king of kings, right? You think, how great kings are. Well, this guy is the king of all those guys. Well, no, he's not a king, right? It's it's just to manipulate the lower level consciousness people, right? But anyways, only spirituality will save this world. It's Paul Romano, definitely important for the apocalypse and the ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.